Have you ever wondered how a single prophet managed to describe, with such precision, events that would only happen centuries later and others that haven't even fully come to pass yet? It's almost impossible to hear the name, Isaiah, and not feel that mixture of mystery and reverence. He was not just an ancient messenger, but one of the most powerful and enigmatic voices in the entire Bible. And what you are about to discover may surprise you. Because when we talk about Book of Isaiah, we're not just talking about a set of prophecies. We're talking about a message that transcends kingdoms, empires, generations, and reaches us today with a force that defies time. Stay with me until the end. Imagine living in a time of constant wars, political intrigue, and a people who, despite being chosen, were drifting further and further from their purpose. In the midst of this chaos, Isaiah emerges an ordinary person, but chosen to carry an extraordinary revelation. He was not a military leader, not a king, he did not command armies. Yet, his words changed the history of entire nations. Have you ever experienced this? That feeling that something bigger is happening around you, even if you don't have complete control? Isaiah lived exactly like that, surrounded by crises, but guided by a vision that few would dare to face. What's most impressive is that his prophecies weren't just about his present. No, Isaiah spoke of kings he would never know, of peoples who didn't even exist in an organized form yet, and of Messiah whose life he described in details that any modern scholar would consider improbable for such an ancient text. And that is why he is so often called the Messianic prophet, a bridge between the past and the future, between the visible and the invisible. When you read the book of Isaiah, it seems that each chapter carries an urgent call, almost as if the pages were alive. But to understand who Isaiah really was, we need to look beyond his words. We need to see the man behind the prophecy, someone who confronted rulers, denounced injustices, and spoke uncomfortable truths even when it put his own life at risk. He lived in Jerusalem, served during the reigns of several kings, and witnessed the spiritual decline of his people. Yet, he continued to proclaim hope, a hope that did not come from human strategies, but from God. And that is what makes his story so fascinating even today. Many people only know the most famous verses, such as those that speak of suffering servant or from birth of the Messiah. But few know the context, the urgency, and the spiritual weight that Isaiah carried while delivering these messages. The book of Isaiah is not just a sacred text. It is a window into understanding how God speaks in times of crisis and how he prepares the way for what is yet to come. And perhaps, by getting to know the story more closely, you will realize that it has much more to do with our current reality than it seems at first glance. So take a deep breath, get comfortable where you are because we're just getting started. The journey to discover who Isaiah really was is about to get even more intense, and the next step will open a new level of understanding about this prophet who traversed history with words that continue to resonate to this day. And as we delve deeper into Isaiah's journey, there's something important I wanted to tell you, but in a very natural way, because that's part of the experience here. Every time you leave a comment sharing what caught your attention, what moved you, or even a question that came up, it not only enriches the conversation, but also helps create a real community around this type of content. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below about what has touched you the most so far. Sometimes a simple word from you can also inspire someone else who is going through something similar. And look, when you like the video, it sends a strong signal to the platform that this topic, biblical prophecies, profound stories like Isaiah's, deserve to reach more people. It seems like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of message. Many people don't even imagine how content like this can transform the way we see the Bible, but when you interact, you literally help spread light. And of course, if you feel that this path adds to your life in some way, that it connects you more with the Word and awakens that desire to continue learning, subscribe to the channel. That way you stay close, walking alongside me on this journey, and I can understand that this content makes sense to you. It's almost like saying, hey, keep going. I'm here with you. This motivates me to bring more and more studies, stories, and reflections like this one. Now, going back to Isaiah, the further we go, the more we realize that his life was not a series of isolated prophecies, but a profound, intense calling that touched the heart of the nation and echoed through the centuries. When we look at the world in which Isaiah lived, we can feel the weight of the decisions that surrounded each day. It was a period of divided kingdoms, fragile alliances, confused leaders, and a people who seemed to have lost their own spiritual identity. Military threats came from all sides, and the feeling of instability was as real as the dust in the streets of Jerusalem. It is in this scenario of tension, political backroom dealings, and hidden truth that Isaiah emerges with a message capable of provoking transformation in the mentality of an entire nation. The impact of his words was not only religious. It was emotional, social, almost like a revelation that turned the key for those who were still undecided between fear and faith. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because understanding this environment helps us to understand why his voice has resonated through the centuries with such force. Comment below, I'm on this journey too. When Isaiah describes that vision in the temple, it's as if we're pulled into a moment that breaks all human logic. He sees the elevated throne, surrounded by seraphim proclaiming, "Holy, holy, holy." And the scene is not only impressive, it completely changes his mindset, like a revelation that transcends everything he thought he knew. It's not a symbolic experience. It's a calling that touches identity, purpose, and destiny. That's why his words have such an impact even today. He didn't speak from opinions, but from a presence that transformed his journey forever. When he says, "Here I am, send me," it's not just courage. It's the response of someone who understood that his decisions from then on would carry spiritual and historical weight. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because this vision explains why his prophecies resonated with such authority. Comment below, this makes sense to me. When Isaiah begins to reveal the messianic prophecies, it seems we are entering the backstage of a plan that spans centuries. He describes the birth of the Messiah with a precision that defies any simple explanation, almost like someone who saw a hidden truth long before it took shape in history. He speaks of a boy who would be called Emmanuel, of a government that would bring light amidst darkness, and that would already be extraordinary in itself, but Isaiah goes further. He also describes the journey of the suffering servant, someone who would bear pain, rejection, and guilt to generate future redemption. It's impressive how these details have a direct impact on the mindset of the reader, because they seem like accounts from someone who witnessed everything firsthand. Each word carries an emotional and spiritual weight, as if pointing to divine decisions that would change the destiny of all humanity. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because understanding these revelations opens doors to perceiving how Isaiah saw so far ahead. Comment below, this makes sense to me. Isaiah was not just a prophet who wrote beautiful words. He walked behind the scenes of power, where decisions shaped the destiny of entire cities. Confronting kings was no simple task, especially when these leaders were mired in corruption, dubious alliances, and a fear-driven mentality. Even so, Isaiah maintained an almost unbelievable courage, speaking truths that few dared to pronounce. He warned of judgment, exposed hidden attitudes, and showed that divine authority was above any human throne. This boldness did not stem from rebellion, but from a deep conviction, a direct result of his supernatural calling. Every time he opened his mouth before the powerful, there was an immediate impact, as if his words pierced layers of pretension and revealed what no one wanted to admit. Now, I want to delve even deeper into the subject, because understanding this stance explains why his voice could never be ignored. Comment below, I'm on this journey too. When we look at the structure of the book of Isaiah, it becomes clear that it's not just a collection of loose prophecies, but a complete journey of transformation. The first chapters, from 1 to 39, carry a strong tone of warning, almost like someone revealing a hidden truth that no one wants to face. It's about judgment, downfall, and the consequences of decisions that accumulate over time. The second part, from chapters 40 to 66, completely changes the atmosphere. Hope emerges, restoration, the promise of a glorious future that renews the reader's mindset. It's as if Isaiah shows two sides of the same story, the weight of reality and the possibility of a new beginning. That's why so many people call this book the Bible in miniature. It brings judgment, comfort, revelations, and purpose, all in a single work. Now, I want to delve even deeper into the subject because understanding this division opens up space to see the literary and spiritual power of this text. Comment below. Does this make sense to me? When we arrive at Isaiah 53, it's as if we enter a territory where each word carries an almost indescribable weight. The portrait of the suffering servant is not merely poetic. It exposes a hidden truth that transcends cultures, beliefs, and even centuries of debate. The description of someone who would bear pain, be rejected, wounded, and yet bring healing and redemption creates an immediate impact on the reader. It's curious to see how this chapter continues to provoke discussions among Jews, Christians, and scholars precisely because its revelations seem to surpass any simple explanation. The journey of this servant reveals a purpose that transforms the mindset of those who allow themselves to look without prejudice, as if each verse opens a new layer of meaning. Now, I want to delve even deeper into the subject, because understanding this mysterious figure helps to see the spiritual and historical dimension behind these words. Comment below, I'm on this journey too. Isaiah begins to reveal that what seemed restricted to Israel was, in fact, part of a much larger plan, almost like watching a map expand before your eyes. He shows that God was not speaking only to a specific people, but to all nations, as if the message crossed borders, languages, and eras, carrying a purpose that no one could limit. This completely changes the mindset of the reader because it breaks the idea of exclusivity and brings a broader understanding of salvation, justice, and transformation. And when we perceive this universal movement, the prophecy gains a depth that connects both personal decisions and collective destinies. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because understanding this global reach helps to see behind the scenes of a God who has always worked beyond human expectations. Comment below, this makes sense to me. Isaiah describes a future so grand that it seems to touch something deep within us, as if it were a hidden truth waiting to be perceived. He speaks of a new heaven and a new earth where pain finds no place, where justice is not a distant promise, but a tangible reality. This vision is not simply prophetic poetry. It is an invitation to see the ultimate impact of the entire human journey. When Isaiah describes this scenario of restoration, he is revealing the inner workings of a God who not only repairs what has been broken, but recreates everything based on a logic of peace and purpose. It is no coincidence that Revelation quotes his words so often. There is a profound coherence there, a continuity that binds past and future in the same hope. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because this promise speaks not only of eternal destinies, but of the mindset we carry today, of the decisions that shape who we are becoming as history unfolds. Write this down. I'm on this journey too. When we look at everything Isaiah reveals, we realize that his words are not stuck in the past. They transcend centuries because they deal with something that remains alive within us. In times of crisis, when it feels like everything is out of control, Isaiah becomes almost a mirror that restores perspective. He reminds us that even when reality seems to crumble, there is a greater purpose operating behind the scenes, a silent transformation that we don't always perceive, but that shapes our mindset and our decisions. His promises rekindle hope not as an escape, but as strength to keep walking. It's as if each revelation is a reminder that chaos never has the final word. Now, I want to go even deeper into the subject, because understanding why Isaiah matters today is also understanding why our own journey has value, even when it seems confusing. Comment below, this makes sense to me, and if you've made it this far, I think you can see how much this journey through Isaiah affects us in a different way, almost as if some pieces finally fall into place. So, if this content helped you better understand the book, the story, and even your own journey, feel free to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll continue receiving videos that truly add to and deepen this conversation we started today. Oh, and tag us in the comments. I'm with you until the end, just so I know you were there every step of the way in this reflection. And of course, leave a like, not out of obligation, but because it shows that this exchange made sense to you and helps us keep this space alive. And if you want to delve deeper into this topic, there's a video over here that complements all of this in an incredible way. Click and continue reading there.